What is going on, guys? My name is Vinny Vega, and today I'd like to go over my thoughts on the latest patch to Battlefield Hardline. Now, first off, this is just about the weapons. There also has been changes done to like bug fixes and whatnot, but I'm not going to go over that in this video. I'm going to go over just what the feel of the weapons that they've changed. Now, first off on the list is the K10. They dropped the damage from 34 to 33 for the max damage, and they also dropped the minimum damage to 8, where it was previously at 12, I believe. Now, up close, this gun is still a beast weapon. I mean, at 1200 RPMs, this gun is gonna just rape anally. Let's just put it that way. But you will feel that sting at the minimum damage range, and because it will take up to 13 bullets now to kill someone if you're on target. That's not counting your missed bullets as well. So you really shouldn't even bother going for anybody at range with this gun anymore. So just keep it close and you should do fine with it. The DMRs on the criminal side gained a recoil reduction to make them more in line with the cop side, because as before the patch, they were kicking like crazy and the cop side had the clear advantage as far as DMR versus DMR. Now with the DMRs, honestly, I'm pretty terrible with them. I've never been an avid user of the DMRs, honestly. I did surprisingly well, considering I haven't picked one up in a while. Not since, probably 3 months before Hardline's release in Battlefield 4. I think that's the last time I used the DMR. But, I mean, they were kind of nice. I mean, I kind of like the feel for them, but they aren't very good for competitive play, honestly. If you're up against a team that's pretty decent, you're probably not going to fare well with the DMRs. I mean, look at the stats on these they're not too bad. They're all relatively the same, except for the Sega. The Sega is a little different. The max damage drops off a little sooner, which is kind of odd. I don't know why they segregated the Sega. I guess to make it seem like there's variety, even though there's only 4 DMRs. What are you going to do? I think I will put a little bit more time into the DMRs and maybe try to perfect my technique a little bit, because you really cannot spam it. I mean, if you spam it at its 360 RPMs, you're just going to miss a lot of shots and not be very accurate at all. So try to be pinpoint with them, because if you spam away, you're just basically just wasting bullets, period. I mean, the only time you really should spam it is if they're right in your face. Now with the battle rifles, they made 2 changes to those. For one, they reduced the recoil rate on the criminal side to be more in line with the cop side, yet again, just like the DMRs. And also, they brought up the minimum damage from 24 to 25 all the way across the board, which means this will get a 3 to 4 shot kill at just about any range, and that's just crazy good. There are drawbacks to this though, like the HCAR and the HK5, they only have an RPM rate of 450 and 500, which is extremely slow. And even at 650 and 625 with the SCAR H and the SA58, you're still going to be outmatched by most guns, at least in close quarters combat. You would think that 3-shot kill would, benefit you a little bit more, but when it comes to a faster rate of fire, like even the K10 will completely smash your face in, despite the fact that it was nerfed. I'd recommend, if you're new to battle rifles, such as myself, you should probably use the HCAR and the HK51, because they're actually pretty reasonable, and work your way up to the SCAR H and the SA58. Moving on to the operator class, the AKM also received a nerf, and the minimum damage was reduced from 25 to 24. I'm not exactly sure why they would touch the AKM and not deal with other weapons, maybe buff other guns and maybe reduce the range on the M416 and the M16A3, just saying. I mean, I've said it before, and I've heard a lot of people complain about it, and yet they've done nothing for it. RL933 is a perfect example of this, and actually increased the RPM rate from 800 to 850, but what difference does that really make when it's only doing 20 damage for its max damage? I mean, that's a little absurd in my opinion. I mean, don't you think they should make the RL933 a little bit more in line with the other assault rifles and carbines? I understand it's the first gun you receive in the operator class, but when you look at the other guns in the operator class, they all basically have at least 25 max damage or 15 minimum damage. When you look at the RL933, 20 max damage and then drop down to 12 minimum damage. It doesn't make any sense. It has you scratching your head. I mean, I guess maybe in a way so it feels like you upgrade it when you move on to another weapon, but if you pre-ordered the game or if you bought the deluxe edition, then you're already going to have a gun that's way better than RL933. because all those guns at least do 25 max damage. So what's the point? Just use the ACWR and you're good to go as far as your starting weapon goes. I just play the game. What do I know about balance, right? Another example of a complete epic fail on Visceral's part, the TDM spawns are not fixed. Supposedly they fixed them, but I beg to differ. In fact, let me just show you real quick. That's pretty much been my experience in Team Deathmatch since the patch. Dust Bowl and the Block, they're actually pretty decent, but pretty much every other map is chaotic bullshit. And they more than just done goofed on this. They done fucked up. They did a lazy patch, which didn't fix anything. All they did was change the spawns around, but it really hasn't really affected anything. You're still gonna have people spawn behind you. I've had plenty of times where enemies spawn in front of me where I could shoot them right away, and that's just not fair. They did a pretty good job with most of the patches at least, but they're definitely a far away from home. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on what's going down with the changes being made in Battlefield Hardline, and what needs to be changed in the future. Don't forget to rate this video, and I'll see you on the next one.